How you do, cousins? It's Rusty here. I'm out in Missouri, and we're about to go in this antique store here. It's the Looking Glass. It looks promising. Can't promise you anything necessarily, but I think we'll find something here today. Come on in. Peach is gonna help me out. Let's do this. Oh, I'm talking about a Rusty how-to. Rusty how-to. How you do, cousins? Rusty. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit while we're in this store. Guys, what a cool place. I did not know what to expect whenever we came rolling in here. You're going to have some footage here from Peaches and also myself at various times, taking a look at stuff. Right as you walk in, you got this little bin of a variety, kind of like loose toys that, Peaches is kind of looking through here. You can see he's kind of looking at various little, some are little action figures, some of these other little kind of plush looking things, and other little, just various little tiny trinkets and toys. So it's cool. There was everything you could think of in this place, guys. There was comic books, as you can see here in the front. There was stuff in glass cases, a little bit more valuable. You can see this, the Looking Glass. This is where we're at in Joplin, Missouri, on this road trip of ours, and it was just absolutely fantastic. You got video games here. You got Funko Pops here. All kinds of bag goodies. Look at this, Super Breakout. Some of these retro games. Some of these are from various different game consoles. And just look at this stuff. Bunch of stuff in these little bags, as you can see here. Action figures. You got everything you can think of. Jurassic Park and Star Wars, Alien, X-Men. The list goes on, folks. It was almost too overwhelming. The amount of stuff in this store was just incredible. And I tell you what, this is what they do for a living. This is their store, so they do their research, right? They know what they're doing. I saw a little Ninja Turtle down here, various things, and I could tell right away that stuff was priced pretty accurately, pretty well, close to right at or just below typical prices of online. And so when I come in stores like this, a lot of times I think to myself, you know what, I don't know if I'm gonna find any deals in here, because these people that run this place, they know what they're doing. And so sometimes I walk out of stores like that, but there was just so many cool things in here. I just had to keep looking, and I'm so glad I did, because as I ventured further in, as you'll see in a little bit, I did find some cool stuff. You got Peaches over there. He's scoping out some stuff in the front end. I'm over here. I like to do this sourcing in tandem, and the two of us can be looking at stuff. Also, it's great because you can kind of see. One of us might have a little bit of knowledge of a particular area and the other one doesn't, and it's just nice to run stuff off of each other and get an idea. Just take a look at some of these things that you can see right here in front on this little shelf right here. A lot of times what I'm doing in these bins is I'm looking, are there any kind of grab bags, things that I can find? You can see Peaches here is doing the same thing. He's looking to see if he can find certain items that are hot, like certain types of vintage or retro action figures. We're looking for Star Wars stuff. We're looking for G.I. Joe. We're looking maybe for some Transformers, or maybe some lesser known action figures and toys that are hot right now. Things like Polly Pockets, or various things like that can sometimes really go for some good money. Strawberry shortcake, or maybe some vintage Barbie stuff. You never know. Also, don't neglect to do your research on accessories and clothing. So things like Build-A-Bear clothing or Barbie clothing, stuff like that can sell really well. But then also little guns or swords or accessories for well-known and well-liked and highly collectible action figures like Ninja Turtles or Star Wars or G.I. Joes and things. People might have some of their old ones from when they were a kid, or maybe they're collecting them, and they can find a nice, maybe they get a grouping of action figures, but no accessories, no weapons, no backpacks or various things like that. You might be surprised to hear that people will sell just individual tiny little plastic knives or swords or stuff if they know what it goes to, and those things can sell, I'm not kidding you, in some cases as much as the figures themselves, because a lot of those got lost over time or broken or thrown away, and so it's really good to keep an eye out for that stuff if you can place it. Now that's the hard part, is when you find a bag, let's just say of like old guns and stuff from G.I. Joes, knowing which one those went to, that can be difficult. There are some sites you can go to though and see it. Now, as you can see now, we're in this back area where there's all the kinds of vintage stuff, and there's different, photographs and postcards. You got some, little paper goods. There's a variety of just vintage antique things here, and this is sort of our bread and butter. This is the stuff we like, guys. We like to sell to collectors. We like older stuff that's still functional. I saw that baseball cap there. Didn't end up picking that up myself, but it was very nice. I can see some vintage tools here. That's stuff I like to look for, and it sells pretty well for us, old screwdrivers and stuff like that. Here's one of those old camp fork and spoon and knife kind of all stuck together there you can use when you go camping. And then further on down the line, we come across some other goodies. Here's an old hand plane you can see. I think it's a little bit high. It was a little bit high for my taste, but that sort of thing could sell for that online for sure. Now we got Peaches kind of in here in the corner. He's sort of covering the area I looked at, and then, not too long here, we take a look down and look at this. There's an old wooden-handled screwdrivers. This is the kind of thing you want to find, folks, is wooden-handled screwdrivers, wooden-handled chisels, wooden-handled, in general, antique tools. There's collectors for those kinds of things. Sometimes they'll get them and refinish them. Here's some old, looks like some hand pruners. These are great. I love to collect these and use around the warehouse in our little sustainable gardens, or where we're planting flowers and such. You can see some of these little paper goods, some of these old booklets. This is a cool one. Mystery of Horror. Tales of Mystery and Horror. I looked these up, and they're going for about $4 to $5, $6 a piece. They had them listed for $3.95. Again, their pricing is spot on, and it's slightly below, right? Slightly below value, and that's great for people who collect the stuff. But for us who are resellers, it's difficult to find deals in places like this. We're really going for stuff, hoping that we find something that a person does not realize the value, right? That we're gonna capitalize on that. As you can see right here, folks, I found an old tackle box. I pulled it out here, and Peaches and I are going to dive in and see what we got. A lot of times these things are empty, but when they have stuff in them, that's exciting. So we kind of take a look around here. What do we got? We see not a ton of lures, but there's an old pocket knife in there. There's some old tins that had different things in it, and then a variety of these old fishing hooks on leaders here. The line is still good. The actual hooks are not rusted, so they're usable. And then like this Sindall with pain, relieves pain stuff. It's got hooks in it. People collect those types of things. There were a variety of they were just reusing little containers. And you see this little pocket knife here. It's quite nice. There's a bunch of weights in there. And look at this, an old vintage matchbook. Boy, I know a lot about those. We've been selling tons of those lately. Just all the time. A little whetstone you can sharpen a blade on and various things. And I can't remember what the price was. Let's see if it shows it here. It was maybe $15, $20, I think, something like that. We took a flyer on that because I really do believe that that will sell for probably $40 or $50 because people like those vintage lures and vintage fishing tackle, along with the tackle box itself. We did find out later that upon further inspection that the back edge of that tackle box was kind of rusted a little bit, which was too bad. It could still be used, but you may not want to put junk in the bottom of that because you risk something falling out possibly. But still, the quantity of the stuff inside of it would definitely be something that might catch a collector's eye. We got to this edge for a moment here. It wasn't a whole lot of antique stuff, but kind of some just bizarre looking stuff. Masks. People had made some strange kind of heads. I don't know. It was almost like the kind of masks you see in Venice, except if you were going to be going to a death metal concert or kind of a macabre masquerade ball or something like that. Then back here on the edge, we see a bunch of digital media. We got some digital, some CDs, some vinyl records, a bunch of old magazines and stuff like that. And then look at these sweet shoes. I didn't buy these, and I'll tell you what, when we left, I regretted it because those things were just so doggone cool. We're always saying, do your research, and this is what we mean. When you find something you think it might be valuable, get out that little computer in your pocket and look up the comps, see what you might find here. It's very difficult. I mean, nobody has a catalog of just constant knowledge of what things are valued at, and the reason is it's a fluid industry. Stuff gets hot, and then all of a sudden it cools off, and at any given time you may not know what things are selling for unless you're selling that specific thing at that moment. It's worth going in there. Even if a month ago it looked like, or 2 months ago it looked like something was selling, go back and look again. This is especially true of things like Nike tennis shoes or various stuff. Sometimes they sell a lot right at a certain moment, right in the beginning, and then they cool off for a while, and then for whatever reason a particular model or something gets hot again, and then all of a sudden it's quite valuable, and you really need to do your research to see that. This area here, we had a bunch of vintage clothing, and it was really cool looking, neat stuff. But again, not overpriced by any stretch, but not priced at a point where we could make a profit on it. This store honestly is, I think, what it's best for is for people who are searching for certain collectibles just to have, or who collect certain toys. Or maybe they get these for their kids or something. A perfect place for that. And I'll tell you what, the proprietor of this establishment, his name was Luke, and we had a nice conversation with him. And I know for a fact that some people in the area who've patronized him before have had just wonderful things to say about him. And his prices have been good, and he works with people. He worked with us, as you'll see here towards the end. Some really awesome stuff we got, and he was just the nicest guy. Luke, the Looking Glass guys in Joplin, Missouri. If you're ever passing through, or if you're in that area, you definitely need to check him out. And we're going to drop kind of a link in the description down here for his establishment, because I just can't say enough good things about the experience and it was just real nice that he was willing to speak with us and also to work with us a little bit. See, we've got a bunch of VHS tapes here in the back, along with several books. And guys, I mean, we were in this store. I think that this is a 20 to 30 minute video, and I mean, this is really just scraping the surface. This is editing down from all the stuff we did, because this place was just so jam-packed with goodies. It was, we had to kind of get our bearings for a moment, and before we could really get into kind of focus, because when you walk in the door, it's almost like a slap in the face, in a good way, of all the awesome stuff that he's got in there. So anyhow, we're kind of moving through the clothing area here. We're kind of coming to the conclusion that, like, hey, this is some cool stuff, but we're really probably not going to make a whole lot on it. See a bunch of these various magazines, and I mean, just look at all these bins of these comics. Really cool, really good, cheap prices if you are into comic books. Especially these ones from like kind of the 80s and 90s. Nothing in these boxes was like terribly valuable, but certainly great for reading and for good entertainment purposes. Here is where I find this little, booklet. Says vintage postcards on it. And I'll tell you what, I got excited because postcards is one of the things I do know quite a bit about. These vintage paper goods, smaller collectible items are the things that I really work on. And so I'm buying these, I'm looking, I'm researching, I'm selling them weekly. And so I am kind of in a good spot of knowing the values of these. I pulled one out there, was a cactus with a little varmint on the top of it. I was going to think about that one. A bunch of these in here were these essentially these comic ones, making jokes. One with the lady with a large, bust there. It says busted on it. Various like ha old jokes. Some of them, little lewd, but this is kind of the way it was back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s when they were making these postcards. Anyhow, so rolling through a lot of them, most of them, in fact, were not used. They had not been posted, had not been written on, but then I found a couple others. Here's one, Life in the Ozarks. Got some of these, with the, Ozarkian hillbillies here, which is kind of the area I grew up in, and I pulled this out to take a look at that. It was for kind of funny to me, just because it's a stereotype of the region where I grew up. And then down below, got a variety of these nice looking G.I. Joes. I mean, just like, look at all those Cobra Commanders there in the middle. I mean, just oodles and oodles of these things. Pretty awesome. And it's in the bottom left there, you got a variety of those vintage ones still in the packages, folks. That's really cool. Some of them had the plastic pulled off, but the card's still with them. And this is just, again, scratching the surface on the stuff that Luke had displayed in here and along the other side. Pretty awesome. I was tempted. I did walk away, not with a G.I. Joe, but I did actually get, you can see me standing over there. This is Peach's angle here. I'm taking a look and doing some research on some vintage Star Wars, characters there, while he's rolling through another little bin of postcards. Again, this is why I love doing this in tandem, because something I might not even see. Peaches is, he's bird dogging it, and he's sniffing it out, he's looking it up, and he's figuring out if we can make a sale on it. So this old, I'm guessing that's Fiesta. It's kind of what it looks like, orange. We can turn around and take a look. I don't think we saw it there, but I do think that it was a Fiesta. Looked like that anyhow. That can be a valuable type of ceramic ware there. As he's pulling up, again, he's looking at the bottom. That's a good place to look. A lot of ceramics have the stamp or something about the manufacturer on the bottom. That's how you know if something's from, England or Japan. It tells you a lot of times what era it was made in, depending on what is stamped. Certain countries had to stamp certain things on there. For example, if you look at something on the bottom that says Nippon on it, you know it's from Japan, but you know it's from a certain area of a certain time period when that was the type of marking that they put on that. Certain things had to be marked made in China after a certain point. And then again, for Asian collectibles in general, you're going to have some in with the actual language, Chinese characters or Japanese language characters, before they had to put it in English. Tell you what, towards the end here, I was trying to wrap up, and you can see that, Peaches, he's already made his purchase. He's going to help me out here. You can see all these little plastic tubs here. It looks like, almost like a rotisserie chicken was in this thing at one time. Probably was. As I was on my way out, I found these little grab bag things here, and it said $10 a piece on them. And I counted them up, and there were 22 of them. I thought, you know what, this is maybe my opportunity to buy something to make a buck or two on, because the price is pretty good. There's a lot of these little, just a bunch of action figures and various characters and stuff crammed in those things. So I went up to the top and to the front, and gentleman there was Luke. It happened to be his establishment. And I said, hey, you got these up here, and I'm interested in if you could work with me if I got the whole lot. And he said, well, what did you have in mind? And this is what we say, guys, always get lots of things, break them up and sell them individually or in smaller lots. You make more money that way. Also, just ask if you can get a deal. It never hurts to ask. You're not going to hurt anyone's feeling. As long as you're polite to them, if you're going to be kind and considerate, then people don't mind you asking. I mean, this happens every day. People are going to ask them if they want to work with them. And so I walked up and I said, hey, what if I bought all 22 of these? If he had said no, it would have been $220 if I'd paid that. He said, what did you think? And I said, well, I don't know, would you do $150? And he thought about it. He said, you know what? I can make that work. And so what that ended up being is about $6 a piece for those. And so he knocked essentially for 40% of what the original amount was going to be off of that. Was, instead of being $10, now it's $6. And so great sort of savings there. I had 22 of these things full to put out in the car, as you can see us doing here out in the truck. And it was just a delight to do business with the gentleman. I was happy to patronize him because he ran a nice, clean place and was very, very nice. I'll tell you, after this video, I went back after the road trip, and it took me around 4 hours, around between 3.5 and 4 hours, to open these up, sort them out into similar small lots and individuals. I've got about 3 bags full. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. More to come soon. Stay tuned. Thanks, cousins. Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty.